All right. Salute to everybody, man. What's good, man? It's your boy DMD. Make sure if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got DJ Aki Wacky is about to talk about Drizzy Drake and Baka. He got a weird case why he around and Drake being number one and Kendrick and all this stuff, man. So let's see how DJ Akademiks is going to put on his pom-poms for his Drizzy BBL Drizzy. Let's see.
All right. All right. Did y'all see this? So apparently Baka Not Nice has responded to Kendrick. You know, Kendrick said, Baka got a weird case. Why is he around? Okay. Now we get to figure out what Baka feels about this. All right. Let me read any donations that came in or whatever, or any. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta pull chat up. But yeah, Baka Not Nice, one of Drake's, right-hand guys, have officially responded to
one of his goons.
And this is his response, okay?
At first, my first initial thing was to respond and respond quickly, very efficiently, and very to the point.
Very directly.
Yeah, and you know what, but like it started brewing in me because where I come from, like, that shit doesn't happen. Like, you can't just call out a man and not have paperwork to back up your talks. Like, it's ludicrous. And then, like, to see like a whole nation behind it and celebrating it like it's a true story is unbelievable, because everybody has to understand. Like, I have a kid. Drake has a kid. You know what I mean? So like, making accusations like that are like ridiculous and out of this world. You know what I'm saying? So, but like, what I was gonna tell you is this: like, I was building up a lot of anger and stuff like that, but then I got a call, and I don't know why I got this call. It's like God said something to him or something. But the boy, sorry, it might not have been a call, it might have been a text message, but he messaged me and he's like, yo, I know what you're feeling, I know you as an individual, and I know how you get down, but I'm just letting you know, like, don't listen to the noise, because it's noise. If you go back and look at all these people that are saying things or having...
Now, we're going to see how compromised DJ Akademiks is, because there's no way Baka should be speaking at all about this. He ain't got no leg to stand on, not one single leg to stand on. So we're going to see if DJ Akademiks is going to keep it a bean or if he compromised. I mean, we already know how compromised he is, but we're going to see how really, really compromised. Like, is he compromised or is he compromised? Based on how he react to this, we definitely going to get a full understanding of how compromised he is.
Anything to say, they're not even actual real people, they're like bots. So like, don't let that shit bother you, bro. Like, and you know what, like, I mean, it's not a good thing, but they're calling your name, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, they're gonna get over this crap, because they're gonna realize there's this crap, and then they're gonna go do their own research. And when you do your own research, you're gonna be like, wow, this guy made up a whole story about something that isn't even true, and it makes you look weird to me. I don't know.
It does.
But I want to say one thing to America, and y'all need to like get yourself together, because making accusations on people, serious accusations like that, you need to have paperwork. That is the rule, like number one rule that everybody goes by. So don't switch up.
All right, I'm gonna be honest, and I think I'm a fair person. Baka, I think this is garbage. I'm glad you spoke on it, but
okay. All right. Okay. Not bad.
This is not a current case. Fuck this whole weird case guy. Why is he around shit? Like, what Kendrick was alluding to is not a current situation. It's something old, and I think you could explain it. You could have just literally explained it. Now, I have an understanding what I believe it is, and I'm gonna look it up on stream live. I've never done it before. This is what I kind of understand it to be. It's kind of like pimping, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, in colloquial terms, right? Like, he was in Toronto. He was just kind of, or I think it was Toronto, and he was dealing with some women, and he was kind of like being a pimp, right? Now, granted, obviously, pimping and pandering, like they have in Las Vegas, kind of almost like borderlines what some people then could say is sex trafficking, right? All right, we get it. But like, we all know American culture. We know even hip hop culture. Like, Snoop Dogg paraded as a pimp for many fucking years. The pimp, the idea of pimping isn't really seen as a negative thing. So if it's pimping he got locked up for, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, that's how I would explain it if that's what it is. Now, I don't know fully. So I'm gonna actually just Google it right now and I'm gonna try to figure it out. But that's kind of how it's always been explained to me, right? Like, it was kind of this element of, a woman or women who were kind of like escorts and he had some power or control over them. But nothing like, he was like forcing himself on them, like, not to my knowledge, right? That's all I've ever known. Like, it was kind of like pimping / like supplying these women to men, right? That's what I kind of know. Let's look it up now. Like, somebody's got to have the paperwork to figure it out. Baka Not Nice case. We'll just look it up on YouTube. Somebody says the truth. No, we want a qualitative, like, understanding. By the way, there is like a long form part of this interview. I don't know if this was the majority. It looked like this was the only place that he responded to that portion of it, but he did do an interview. I think I see the interview here, 16 minutes. How can we find? Okay, shit, I did a video on it before. Okay, so Baka spent 13 years in jail, and then he spent 6 months in jail. I did a video on it. Let's go back to my video, right? That's what DJ Akademiks said. I might.
Well, now see, I thought he was gonna say something else. So it seems like he's defending Baka. So nah, I thought he was gonna be like, Baka, shut up, because you do got a weird case. How you gonna talk about something? You should be the last person. But now it seemed like he's trying to defend him. So maybe I gotta take that back.
Declare it a holiday when Baka get back on the road. Well, you know how that should go. Yes, we do know how that should go. Okay, Champagne Poppy. Today we found out. Now, if you guys don't know, there's a member of Drake's entourage, the whole OVO family, that goes by the name of Baka. He was actually sentenced to 6 months in jail. But here's the thing. He's not going to go to jail. The reason he's not going to go to jail, Drake is a real six god. Not playing around. That's a joke. But the reason he won't go to jail is because he's already credited for serving 11 months in jail. Now, you're probably wondering, who the fuck cares? Okay. So we're going to find this article, because this article says Drake's human trafficking buddy. Okay? All right. Last year, Travis Savory was charged with 6 crimes in connection with the human trafficking of a 22-year-old woman. I'm gonna cut my own video, by the way. Old Ack, GOAT, right? Travis Savory, 22-year-old woman. I just want to read what, see if I can figure out what the allegations are. Complex has an article about it. Hopefully they kept it fair. It said, what is Baka Not Nice's weird case that Kendrick Lamar references on Not Like Us? So it says Kendrick alludes to Drake's associate Baka Not Nice on Savory Pass on his #1 song on the Hot 100 disc called Not Like Us. But what exactly is the weird case he's bringing up? On K-Dot's Thunderous Not Like Us makes some serious allegations against Drake and the OVO Sound roster. Among them is that Travis Savory, a rapper and former security guard otherwise known as Baka Not Nice, he says, say Drake, I hear him like him young. You better never go to Cell Block 1. To any bitch that like him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubbs, he's the only one that get the hand-me-downs. In party, he had to party play with his nose now. Baka, he got a weird case. Why year round? Certified lover boy, certified PDFs. Okay, who is Baka? Let's figure this out. And by the way, I'm hoping Complex, I hope y'all didn't snake, again, I'm using this for historical perspective. I could look up all these things myself, but I hope you have an angle and you're keeping it fair. Baka Not Nice is a Toronto-based rapper and a longtime friend of Drake. He previously had a career as a security guard, but he's since been signed to OVO Sound. Okay, what's his connection to Drake? He's been serving as Drake's bodyguard before making several contributions to the Toronto rapper's music. He made his first appearance on one of Drake's songs in 2013. Nothing Was the Same. And, what song was he on? He followed up with appearance on More Life and Scorpion. He signed to OVO Sound in 2017. He dropped 2 solo releases through the label 4 Milli in 2018 and No Long Talk in 2019. What was he charged with? What's the weird case that Kendrick's been talking about? In 2014, Baka was arrested for allegedly forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution. The following year, per the Toronto Sun, he pled guilty to assaulting the woman and failing to comply with conditions to the unrelated firearm charges. The procuring for prostitution and human trafficking charges against him were dropped because the woman refused to testify. So how did he spend 13 years in jail? According to authorities, the victim got in an argument with Baka when she found him passed out drunk as food burned in the oven. She told him off for falling asleep with food cooking, and he allegedly pushed her to the floor. The woman allegedly worked as an escort and was reportedly in a relationship with him at the time of the incident. Did he serve time in prison? Let's listen to that. We'll read that. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison following his guilty plea, but he avoided the time because he was behind bars because he spent 10 months in custody following his 2014 arrest. Upon his 2015 release, Drake celebrated the news in a sense, then deleted the post. Says something in the air today. A lot of good things happening at once, but this one means the most. Been waiting for 11 months. Baka finally home. Also on his Know Yourself track, Drake famously raps, I might declare the holiday as soon as Baka get on the road. I feel like this is still unclear. What did he serve 13 years in jail for? Baka Not Nice, 13 years in jail. That's what we want to know. Here we go.
I went back to prison like 3 more times. Drake embraced me, and Drake was the love child of the city. Why are you with this guy? I hear what you guys are saying, but I know who he really is. Yeah, and I know he's not doing all these things that you guys are talking about. White lady Lynn, she turned me into a rock star while I was in prison.
In what sense?
She came to visit me one day, and she's like, is there anything I can do? She knows I was innocent. So I was like, yo, mom, I need weed. Next week, my mom brought me a fucking half ounce of weed. And when she came back, I gave her the money. And she's like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. Both of our heads was like, ching-ching. Yeah, she's like, you can make a lot of money, mom. Yeah. Okay. I was out for 30 days, and then I got charged with attempted murder. Drake embraced me, and Drake...
So this is a story about getting 13 years in jail, because we want to figure out, did he do 13 years in jail for human trafficking?
Because I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, you know? We have a lot of young men that listen to this podcast, you know? And I think that there could be a lot of value there. So talk...
By the way, shout out to Money Buys Happiness. Y'all do an amazing podcast. I know y'all are Canadians. I fuck with y'all heavy. I've seen a bunch of your other podcasts, too. First, I saw you guys with Kyle. Salute y'all.
Tell us about that experience, how it came to be, what it was like the whole thing. We kind of want the whole run.
So basically, like, when I was 18... so it's crazy. So... at one point, I went on a rampage with my little buddies in the streets. We were just like doing a whole bunch of robberies, armed robberies, just going crazy as kids, you know? And anyways, long story short, I ended up getting caught.
Okay.
And I ended up taking the charge.
Okay.
Like they didn't have anything on any of my other friends. They wanted me to roll over on them, but I was like, yo, it was me. And then I made up names, and the names that I made up were like cars. I was like, yeah, my friend Audie. And I just said, I said vet or some Corvette or some shit. You know what I mean? And I just threw them off. So long story short, all my friends got off, and I ended up going to the penitentiary as a teenager.
And how old were you when you went in?
I was 18.
Wow.
And I'm going into a place where like it's just criminal,
grimy.
Yeah. And at that time, it wasn't like now, man. It's like, yo, you respected your elders at that time.
True, different world.
Yeah, and guys that were doing things at that time, you really respected them. So it wasn't about trying to be a tough guy all the time, because that didn't work back then. Because you get checked.
Facts,
you know what I'm saying? On some real, like, there's no Hollywood shit going on. You're getting checked, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to learn quick.
So you got you did 13 years.
No, I got 2 years, 7 months.
Okay.
For those armed robberies.
Okay.
Got out. I was out for 30 days, and then I got charged with attempted murder.
Okay, that's everything changed.
So convicted me for a crime I did not do. My friend did.
You know what's so interesting about like all this shit? I swore that he was doing 13 years because of this supposed weird case. In hip hop, it's so like normalized murder, robberies. Let's be honest, that should be a weird case too, but not in hip hop. A little body, a homicide, attempted robbery, attempted shooting. Who gives a fuck? So when Kendrick's saying Baka got a weird case, and I've always heard he did 13 years in jail. I used to think he did 13 years for something with a woman, not necessarily. Oh, he did a robbery and he got an attempted murder, and that's why he did 13 years. So we haven't even got to the whole thing about the weird case, but we're going to get to it. So, okay, the 13 years got nothing to do with it. Okay.
But I didn't rat on him again. I got 13 and a half years.
Wow.
So that's where all the street cred and all that stuff, because everybody from my city, my hood, knew that I actually went to prison for something I didn't do.
Yeah.
So, there's a respect for that. I don't know about now, because it's getting so weird.
It's different, yeah.
But like, yeah.
But in terms of like, okay, 2 years, 7 months is one thing.
Yeah.
But when you get convicted for 13 years,
yeah, you feel like your life is over.
What? Yeah. Walk us through like that feeling.
That moment too that you found out.
You find that out.
Listen, I was in court. I was in court, and my dad was in court, and I put this in my song, one of my songs that I have. I don't know, did I release a song? Give me that work. If you guys listen to Give Me That Work, there's a section where I'm talking about where were you when I got the 13 years? Where were you when I was down below, Basically saying, yo, you guys didn't see my dad when he was in the courtroom when the judge said 13 years, 9 months or some shit. Yeah, so it was just a trying time. When the judge said that, it didn't hit me. I'll be real with you. I feel like I got back to the prison, because, they do that. They give you your time, and then they handcuff you, they bring you back downstairs in the bullpen, and then you get shipped back to the detention center where you're doing your time until, So it didn't hit me until I got out of my cell that night, because I'm around people, so your energy's still high.
Okay, so we kind of get a picture of what he's saying. He did 13 years, robberies and an attempted murder. Now, granted, chat, we're not doing paperwork pull-up today. Also, I haven't really done a lot of paperwork pull-ups on Toronto stuff. It's a little bit different than obviously the U.S. court systems, but probably same principle. Let's see if he talks about this weird case.
Movies, all this shit to get the charge. The guy, he has all
these past that can be very
like you're knocked out. So I'm just on that mentality. Call him, and when he gets here, I'm just gonna kick.
Okay, real.
Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the pressure that they put on him, was a
crazy.
lot. So for him to just like 3 more times, not because I did anything, just because they hated me.
Yeah, you're on the list now.
Yeah, and make it worse, Drake embraced me, and Drake was the love child of the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Why are you with this guy? You know what this guy does? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the pressure that they put on him was a lot. So for him to just steadfast and to be like, yo, that's my friend. I hear what you guys are saying, but I know who he really is. Yeah. And I know he's not doing all these things that you guys are talking about.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And when you're in there though, like, how are you staying up to date with what's going on like outside?
What's going on is Snoop, and I'm here to announce that.
Okay.
And there's no other way for me to say it, brother.
Like in what sense?
She
I'm trying to figure out
I didn't do.
Yes.
It's the hardest thing.
Oh, here we go.
But hold on, all jokes aside, guys. Yo, like I said, I got 13 and a half years for something I didn't do.
Yes.
Oh, the hardest thing. So, like I told you, my mom realized that I was going downhill, depression and shit. And I need to tell you guys this. If I didn't, because I'm not glorifying it, because it sounds sick, it sounds hype, all that shit. I'm still not going to glorify it, right?
Okay.
But I had to do that to keep my sanity.
Yeah.
If I had to, it was a job. Something I had to wake up and keep. I had to make sure everything was in order every day.
It gave you a schedule.
It gave me a schedule back in mind. I got 13 years. It doesn't mean that I did 13 years.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was innocent. So, I would say, in year 7 or 8, the appeals contacted us and told me that I won my appeal.
Oh, shit.
So I had to go back to the detention center. My lawyer came and saw me. He says, I have good news, I have bad news. I'm like, okay, what is it? And this is December 16th.
Okay.
Right before Christmas. It's fucking cold outside.
Yeah.
I'm back in the bucket with fucking minors. I'm a grown man now. I'm hardened. I'm living in penitentiary lifestyle, running an operation.
Yeah.
I'm going and moving anywhere I want in that facility, because that's the difference between a penitentiary and a detention center. A detention center, you are escorted everywhere throughout that building with guards.
Okay.
You are never walking alone by yourself.
Yeah.
You are treated like an animal.
Wow.
Period.
Okay.
In a penitentiary, it might sound crazy to say, but you're treated like a man.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
if I have a fucking dentist appointment, they send me a fucking it's a slip. We call it a slip. Every morning when you get up, like every range when you get up, you wake up, you go into the mess hall, the kitchen. And there's a board and all the slips. There's like little tags. Everybody's name's on it. Where if you have an appointment, that's where your shit is. So everybody wakes up in the morning and always goes over there to see if they have an appointment.
What's going on? Yeah.
So if you have a slip, you go to your appointment. I kind of forgot what I was trying to say to you guys. First.
No. So we're saying like, so you then the appeals comes and then you go from
I'm trying to hear about this weird case. You see, that's not what he's talking about then.
penitentiary.
Difference between the penitentiary and
13.
amazing. I'll get time served and go home today. The bad news is, it'll probably take me another year to get you another trial. And you have to go through a whole new trial. And we don't know how these people are gonna, deal. Like you don't know what the jury's gonna. You cannot. A jury's a jury. Boom.
Yeah, fuck that.
I didn't plead guilty to attempted murder because they know I didn't do it. I pled guilty to discharge of a firearm. Just discharge of a firearm in the air.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the actual incident.
Okay.
And I got time served and released.
Yeah.
So then after 7 years?
8 years.
8 years you're out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then I guess knowing that now while you're in the bin and you're saying, okay, I'm about to get out. What are you thinking now? What are you thinking about when you get out?
What the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Did
you think about that at all while you were in it?
I did. My brother ended up in jail with me too. And
I don't think he ever talks about this idea of him being a human trafficker.
I went back to prison like.
Let's Google that. Baka. Because I always thought that's why Drake got the backlash. Oh, he didn't know jumper?
So you get out, and then how do you end up meeting Drake? Like, how long did it take until you get out? This ends up happening, and you sort of start moving in a different direction.
Pretty quick because when I went to prison with the guys in my era.
Right.
I grew up with, and that I can figure out things. I even tried to do the label thing, like I was telling you about.
That skill sort of on deck, but then meanwhile you're just not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right after Kendrick Lamar's pop. But I think that we kind of get where he's getting at.
Baka served on Drake's security detail for a bit before being signed to OVO Records. Now, first of all, I don't know what it is about rappers and their security team. There's a very high-profile case, and a certain rapper's head of security is at the center of the investigations. Now, maybe I've just never had security before, but I do feel like it's a little strange to be so buddy-buddy with people who are like supposed to be serving as your security. In 2014, Baka was accused by his on and off-again girlfriend that he forced her into spicy work and also took her money.
Okay, so Chad, this weird case that they're saying Baka has is not that Baka is like some rapist. Is that Baka was trying to be a pimp. That Baka, whatever, again, I'm not saying pimping is cool, but we do have to understand the culture that everybody has acknowledged and not everybody has shamed people who have claimed that they're pimps, right? Like we have to realize Snoop Dogg paraded around as a pimp with nobody saying nothing to him. We got to realize people in the culture have accepted songs like, I don't know what you heard about me, but I'm a motherfucking PIMP. Like it's I don't know if we're looking at and saying pimping or catching a charge for pimping is a weird case. Basically, gangbanging is weird as well because it's like, yeah, no one. Do you get what I'm saying?
No.
Pimping is kind of upheld in hip hop, same as gangbanging. If one's a weird case, if you catch a charge.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy. He just on his knees, man. He just on his knees right now. He just trying to make Drake not look bad because he's close to Drake. Yep, compromised. He's compromised. Typical.
I think it's really interesting that the woman who initially accused Baka of forcing her into prostitution, who was also going to bring human trafficking charges against him, then dropped those charges, only keeping the assault charges. And it's interesting because her lawyer says that, she was not coerced, that they were not in contact, but she did move out of Toronto while this was happening.
Baka Not Nice was not signed to OVO Records until 2017, so it begs the case, why is Baka Not Nice still around if Drake knew about this case coming into his record deal? Now, immediately after Baka Not Nice's release from jail, Drake released a statement saying he could have gone many other ways in life, but he chose to focus.
We get into it. Make sure you guys said I like about Baka Not Nice having a weird case, and Kendrick Lamar wanted to know why is he still around. Now, when you look into this Baka Not Nice case, according to the reports, on Tuesday, June 10, 2014, the Toronto police started an investigation into a human trafficking occurrence. It is alleged that a 22-year-old woman was forced into prostitution after being threatened by a man. According to the police, the man intimidated the woman into giving him the money she earned from selling the nons, as well as taking her debit card and using
selling the nons. That means selling pussy.
Intimidated the woman into giving him the money she earned from selling the nons, as well as taking her debit card and using her PIN to withdraw money from her account. Now, on the same day the investigation started, at around 9:30 p.m., Baka Not Nice was arrested and charged with the following: trafficking person receiving material benefits, exercise control, other than death threats, assault, and failed to comply. According to police, the 22-year-old woman, who was reportedly Baka Not Nice on and off again girlfriend, became involved in a heated argument when allegedly Baka got drunk and passed out at home while French fries were burning in the oven. According to reports, the woman started yelling at him about it. and Baka's response was to push her to the floor, where she allegedly lay in shock, crying for an hour. Baka would apologize, and the woman who works as an escort will call police on him the following week. Now, during Baka Not Nice's trial, the human trafficking and prostitution charges were eventually dropped. According to the report, the woman had since moved and hadn't informed police of her new address. She hadn't been subpoenaed to testify because the police couldn't locate her. Now, it's also noted that the woman said she hadn't had contact with Baka and she wasn't being pressured not to testify. But who's to say that someone with money and influence?
Okay, so essentially, Baka had these allegations of human trafficking, possibly sex trafficking and prostitution. The woman in question doesn't want to testify. Who knows, for whatever reason. And he ends up pleading kind of like guilty to assault, like basically, yeah, I pushed her. However, there's a stigma that lays on him because he was accused of this human trafficking stuff. Yeah, that sounds odd. And I'm not trying to like just back this guy up. I'm just saying this whole idea of like having a weird case while he's around. I thought he got convicted for human trafficking or sex trafficking. It seems like that's not the truth.
Six God didn't pay her off to disappear. Who's to say that, right? But during the trial, Baka Not Nice did maintain his innocence throughout the entire case. Baka Not Nice would eventually plead guilty to assault on his ex, and in exchange, some of his other unrelated firearm charges were dismissed, but the court still handed him a 6-month sentence. But by then, he was already in jail for 11 months, and he would walk out the box. Now, like I said, Baka Not Nice has always maintained his innocence, and Drake always stood by him, even going as far as saying, I might declare it a holiday as soon as Baka get back on the road. And he did receive a lot of backlash for that, man. They tried to cancel Drake in the past, if y'all don't remember, saying that he supports human trafficking.
Yeah, so he was never, so he definitely got convicted for assaulting a woman, but he got charged with human trafficking but never convicted. By the way, Drake, he showed up to WWE with Baka. Like, I don't know if y'all seen that. This is Baka to the left, and this is Drake right here. And that's Yachty. Yeah, Drake clearly still fucking with him. Now, if you ask me, I'm not going to blame Kendrick totally for this narrative, because there has been a fucked up narrative about Baka saying he's a human trafficker. And until today, I didn't know he was never convicted of human trafficking. We only know that he was accused of human trafficking. So I'm today years old realizing he was never convicted. But I can't blame this on Kendrick, just because this narrative kind of existed before. And I think Kendrick probably just piggyback on it. Like, yeah, they made it worse, of course. But was he the one who started it? No. Let me see. Let's see.
First initial.
Okay. Anyway, yo, the point is this, man. Baka, I think you did a horrible job of explaining this yourself. If I think I'm right with this, all you gotta say, bro, yo, people think I did 13 years for touching a woman inappropriately. That's not the truth. I did 13 years for robberies and a attempted murder. In hip hop, people love that. Like, trust me, nobody's ever gonna be like, oh, I can't fuck with you. You did a murder. They're gonna love you more. Then you just gotta be honest about the situation. Hey, listen, there's this woman that I was dating at the time. Yeah, I was trying to get into my pimp shit. She reported me. Or I don't even know if he has to admit that, because she's not pressing charges. So really, I have no idea how much merit this whole Baka got a weird case, why is he around. But we've established that because that's just Kendrick's thing. Like, Kendrick made up a narrative and he's gonna stick to the narrative. You know, you could show all the proof in the world. It's not like he's gonna come back around and be like, nah, you know what I think? Like, he doesn't have a weird case. He just has a fucked up. No, he's never gonna change his mind. Like, you know, so I'm wondering why the hell Baka is even entertaining half of this shit, given the fact that he's not gonna say nothing to make it better. All right, people.
Man, that was a whole bunch of bullshit. Man, that was a whole bunch of crock shit. Akademiks, you just wasted 20. That was a whole bunch of crock shit. You just made things even worse. Look, at this point, Akademiks just making stuff even worse. Man, he compromised. Y'all leave a comment down below. Man, this was terrible. Why did you even talk about this, Akademiks? You definitely didn't help Baka at all. You just do what you best. Just on your knees. It's your boy DMD. I'm signing out.